Thank you. Thank you to Martin, to all the organization for having me here. So, who am I? I'm from Mexico. My name is Héctor. I have talked in some security conferences. I have talked twice at DEF CON, SummerCon, Wireless Hacking Fest, all that stuff. So I'm going to go a little bit quick because we have just 25 minutes and I have a lot to talk about. So what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about secure baggage. Indeed, we're going to talk about the logs and how it works and what I have found around the research that I did last year. So basically, we have in the baggage that we have this organization that is travel centric. So when we go through airport, we have TSA. That TSA is different to travel centric. TSA is just the Transportation Security Administration, and travel centric is going to be this logo that you see here. So whenever you see a log and you see this logo, that means that that's travel-centric compliance. And what does that mean? We have a lot of type of locks on the suitcases. We have padlocks, built-in, combination, smart, proximity, and key. So this means that, for example, the padlock is just this regular lock that we have over here. The built-in is that those that we found already in the suitcases. Combination, that means that we are going to use a combination from 3 to 4 digits. Smart, for example, we now have some smart bags that you can use your fingerprint to open it. Also, there are some bags, if I don't recall incorrectly, I guess there are from Samsonite, that use a proximity that you will need to have like a tag. When you, get into it, you will be able to open. And obviously you are going to have ones that you are going to use just key. For example, this one right here is going to use fingerprint and key. Right there we have key. Indeed, that's not key. That's something that I'm going to explain you. And we have the combination. Here we have some retractable, and here I have a padlock. So, what we are going to talk about here about TSA is that if we found a suitcase that is TSA compliance, and that means that if you found a bag, a suitcase, and you see that logo, that means that it's going to have one of these type of locks. That could be padlock or built-in, and it's going to be from TSA 1 to TSA 8. Okay? Here you have a lot of those, and you are going to find in the lock the number. For example, here in the corner of the left, you see TSA 1, here 2, 3. This is 4, 8, 5, 6, and 7. So, all of these locks have a specific mechanism to be open and how it works. The most common that you're going to find is the 7. So, if you have a suitcase or if you travel from somewhere else and you have your suitcase, just try to look for if you have this logo, and probably the most common is going to be TSA 007. From there, you will have TSA 2 and TSA 5. And if you just have the most recent suitcase, you are going to have maybe TSA 8, but that is going to be more expensive. So there are another ones, but for example, this TSA 4 is discontinued. Why? And why we have a lot of locks. There are over 500 of manufacturers that work with this type of locks. In the case of TSA 4, for example, here we are going to see that it's being made by CCL. Corbin carbonate lock has been around since 8082. So that's a long time ago. You are going to find a lot of old locks and keys that they are like really extravagant, and then they stop to do they fusion with another company, and they stop to do the TSA 004. That's why you are not going to find any suitcase with that. That's what I just told you. I'm going to tell you a little bit how it works, the mechanisms of all of these locks, just so we can go straight to the attacks. So this is the normal lock picking that we are going to have, the pin tumble. That means that we are going to have some springs, some pins, and what we are going to do with the key is just we're going to insert. That's going to push the springs, and we are going to try to align all the pins, just where there is the arrow, and when they are aligned, you are going to be able to move the cylinder. So, that's what the key does because of the shape. When you are doing lock picking, that's what you're trying to do. You're going to try to, with the pick, trying to move each of the pin to align, and then you are going to use the tensor to move it, like if you are turning the key, and try to open. Then we have wafers. Wafers, for example, doesn't have springs. And here is the funny part. Wafers, what we are just trying to do here, and I'm going to say it like in a really, really easy way, we are just trying to move the key along, and then just try to open it. But here we are not using those springs. This is going to be super important because when we see the type of locks and the attacks, this is going to be key. Then we have dimple. The dimple is this type of keys. I don't know if maybe here around you have this type of keys and this type of locks, but these little like balls that are called dimples, what we're trying to do is to move from side to side, and those are going to be pushed. We also have some springs here, and when we have like the correct deepness, you are going to be able to align and then to move the key. And finally, we are going to have this detainer. This detainer is the one that is using in the TSA 8, and we are using some discs. So just imagine like we have some discs. There are one above each other, and we are going to try to move them and align them. So we are going to try to reach, for example, in the lower one, in that little gap. That gap in all of those, that one is moved, and we are going to try to align them in all of those, and then we are going to be able to open it. So, what does that mean when we talk about attacking these locks? We have 4 main type of attacks here: impressioning, lockpicking, decoding, and sheaving. So, this is not a new thing. Indeed, you can find this information with some research from 2016, I think. But they just talk about impressioning and lockpicking and decoding. So I'm gonna focus on some of the research that I did about sheaving. What is impressioning? Impressioning, just imagine that it's a copy. You're going to try to get a copy, a physical copy, just from the shape of the key. So if, for example, you use this green paste, or even from a picture of the key, you can do this like map, and then you can print it, for example, with now all of the 3D printers, and you can have a working key. On lockpicking, as I already told you, we're going to use just a pick and a tensor. And depending on what is it, for example, if it's pin tumble, like this is the case, we're going to use, for example, a rake. This is the name of the pick, and a tensor. If I have a dimple, a lock, for example, maybe I'm going to use a snowman pick and a tensor, depending on which type of lock I am having, is the pick that I'm going to pick, and I'm going to use it. Decoding, this is really, really interesting, and you can search for videos in TikTok or wherever, and indeed, that works. But why it works? So, this is the mechanism that we have behind all of the digits. And what we are going to try to do is to find that little gap. When we have this gap aligned, we are going to be able to open it. So that gap is going to be aligned in the middle, but not in the front part. It's going to be in the backwards. So what we are going to do, and you can see on many videos, is that you can insert something between each digit, and you can start to feel, or even you can start to see, if you just use a lamp or something, you will be able to see if you start to just scroll the digit, and suddenly you are going to see something different. That something different is going to be that gap. So if you find that gap in the 6, in the 5, in the 2, and the 2, that means that now it's aligned, but you will not be able to open it. Why? Because the mechanism, it's in the backwards. So what you will need to do is, now that it's aligned with all these combinations, 6, 5, 2, 2, you're going to move the 4 digits just backwards, like 3 to 5 times normally. And then you are going to reach exactly that this gap, it's in the backwards, in the middle. And at that point, you're going to open the combination. It's really simple. And finally, we have sheaving. Sheaving, we can define it like a bypass. It's simply sliding something between the locking parts to reach something. So we have already some leaks. We have the leaks from TSN1 to TS6 to TSA7. 8, it's really new. And you can just Google that in GitHub, and you will find like all of the files, and you can print your own keys, or you can. Oh, I removed, but you can buy yours in some. Here's it. You can find the master keys, but it's going to be super expensive. So. This key is one that we printed, and it works. And now the specific attacks. So we're going to have the wafer bypass. Here, as I told you already, on the wafer, what I just need to do is like to try to bypass to get into something. And here is the TSA7. This is the most common, as I told you already. And what I need to do is just try to insert something into the lock, and then, oh, sorry for my voice in Spanish. Then I can move it. I'm going to explain why this happens. But basically, if you found that any suitcase has this logo and you have TSA 007, basically what you need to do is just insert something and turn, and you will be able to open. Why? Because when we talk about TSA travel sentry, we said that this is compliance. That means that in the airport, when you have this logo, you can open they can open the locks with master keys. So that's the reason why all of these locks that have this logo is going to have a lock for a key. That's not something that you have. You are not going to have a key. You are just going to have the combination or another way to open it, but you're not going to have the key. That lock is for TSA, and they are going to be able to open it with the master keys. Nevertheless, this presentation is about all the bypasses that you can find. Here is another example. Now, instead of a pick, I'm going to use just a tensor. For example, just what I'm trying to tell you is that you don't need a specialized tool. This is just bare metal, just something that fits, and that's it. So, some unusual tools. These are some bill notes from Mexico. So we have just rolled them and we tried to open it, and that worked indeed. So you can open it even with paper. Here, a friend of mine used a fork, a knife, whatever you found, you can just insert. If it fits and goes through, you will find some resistance. And that's where wafers gets in. When you find resistance, you just have to push a little bit. And that's when you bypass wafers, and then you will be able to turn. Here's another example. This is a little more difficult. This is TSA002. Here I used 2 picks, but at the end, same. I was able to open. Indeed, this is my suitcase. I bought this suitcase in Panama 10 years ago, and I have traveled with this. Now, I have done a lot of tests for this talk. It's not working anymore, but I don't care. Indeed, because, so, what happens in the back? This is the housing. We have there that circle, that is the cam. And in the middle, you see there is a hole, and we have there a restrictor, that is that little arm. And then we have here the pivot arm. So what you can see here is that here in my fingertip, I have a pick. So what I just did is that I inserted something. I bypassed the wafers. I reach the cam, and from there, when I move, the restrictor is going to move, allowing that the pivot arm slides, and then you can open. Get it? It's not that difficult, but it gets me to another attack. So, that's what happens. Basically, I moved the restrictor, and I was able to slide the pivot arm. What happens with sheaving? I thought, what if instead of trying to insert something through the log, bypassing the cam, trying to reach the restrictor to move the pivot arm, what if just through those holes where in the suitcase you are going to clip like the zippers, maybe I insert something to reach directly the restrictor and just pull it and then move the pivot arm.
Meter esto por acá.
That's basically what I'm explaining here to my team.
Y botarlo para acá.
That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Get into the restrictor and move it. And here is on a suitcase. So I'm just trying to feel to get the restrictor. Oh. Sorry, I cut the video, but that's basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get from that little hole from the zippers, trying to get into the restrictor, and then I'm going to be able to move the pivot arm. Another one is the decoding. That is just what I'm explaining to you. Here I'm using a pick to fill that little gap. That gap there. And then, when I'm trying to... Yeah, here what I'm saying is that in some point when I'm trying to insert the pick, I feel the restriction, and at some point, I feel that I can pass a little bit more, like in that digit. I was able to...
¿Cerca de dónde es? ¿Duro?
I said there that I feel the restriction, and with the pick, what I'm just trying to do is to fill that little gap if I can insert more the pick. And when I have that, then I'm going to slide, and then I'm going to be able to open. And for example, here I have TSA006. And in TSA006, I have dimples. You can see maybe, just under TSA006, there's a little ball. Those are the dimples. So what I can do here is trying to pick, use a snowman pick, and trying to open, or I found another bypass. That is that when I correctly open with the master key or I use the combination, what it's going to do is that part is going to pull. So basically, I was thinking, what if I just insert something in there and just push it? If I push it, it's going to open. Just like that. I'm going to try to it's closed, and I'm going to try to reach that part. And it's open. So this is flat in the surface, and as you can see, it's sufficient space to insert something and be able to open. This is dimple picking with the tools that I told you. Here you can see how it works. This is a snowman, and here it's something that I just did. It's also possible to by sheaving, by picking, or by combination, the coding. And these detainers. This is the newest. This is something that I haven't been able to pick because my picks are too big to get into there, but I found another bypass. And the bypass is exactly here. If I can reach that hole, I can insert through this gap something, try to reach that gap, and just pull it. And if I do that, it will be open. So maybe I was not able to pick, but I was able to bypass it. So basically, from TSA 1 to 8, all of those are pickable, even if I wasn't able to open TSA 8 because I didn't have the tool. I have seen that you can do your own custom, and it's viable. By master keys, only the TS8, I haven't seen any leak of that. But also, you can do it by decoding. You can do it by sheaving on all of the locks. So, on DEF CON, they asked me, okay, which lock do you use? And the truth that I don't, now I'm just using a padlock with my bag. It's not TSA compliance. So there is no way to pick it. There is only a way to decode it. But, if somebody tries to open it, I think that this is going to take more time than if you can just bypass it. And finally, putting that into practice. Why I'm talking this here in cybersecurity conference. At the end, lockpicking is something that we all like. And this takes us to some social engineering genes, to some product security reviews. So you are not here to know, and I'm not here to tell, supposedly. But just like 1 month ago, I performed an ATM security assessment, in Mexico. Here, indeed, what I just see is this, key, and this key is for a disk detainer. So, when you start to do this type of things, of this research, you start to develop your mindset into, how can I get into here? How could I bypass there? For ATM security, obviously, I was able to bypass many of the ATM security. Even for extra safe words, here I say like, this is not a lock, but this is like the safe of the ATM. Here I see a big gap. What if I just get something there, just pull it down, and I will be able to open it? And that worked. I just came yesterday here. I just arrived here, and let's try to do a look around the ATMs, and I just saw that like, the pretty standard ATMs locks. You are using just some pin tumble. As I told you before, is like the most common, the most easy. I saw that there was a stand with lock picking. Those were hard. These are easy. Indeed, maybe if you beat some of those, you can beat some of them. And I'm not telling you be criminals. I'm just telling you the information. And I have traveled from Asia to Latin America, North America, Europe, and I see the same, because obviously by the vendor, NCR, Windor, Diebold, Nixdorf, Wincord, Triton, all of those use the same pretty standard locks. So at the end, when for example, here I was passing by a place and I see like, oh, pretty good. You have like the ATM with the locks and everything, but then you see the glass and the wires, everything over there. And I was like, I know this is Europe and this is a lot of Latino blood, but what if just I smash the glass and I can get into it and that, but well, thank you. That was it.
Okay, are there any questions for the speaker?
Hi, thank you very much. I want to ask, I forgot the name of the style of the picking already, but the one when you just put stuff in the lock and then turn, you use use force. Does it leave traces? Does it break the lock? Can it be used afterwards? Yeah, that's my question.
Indeed, you mean if there are traces in the lock, like it was locked?
What I mean is, does the lock break? I don't mean, of course, it can be, I don't know, scratched and stuff like that. That doesn't matter, but if it can be used afterwards, if it's like a visible, will people notice that someone broke into their luggage?
It is not visible. After many attempts, we normally do a village of lock picking in South America with I carry with a lot of suitcases to do all of this. And after a lot of attempts, obviously the locks starts to break. But on normal usage, normal usage of this is not going to break. But indeed, there is a paper of Black Hat that is lock picking forensics. And it's super interesting because I didn't thought that there will be forensics for lock picking. But yeah, you can see that if there are scratches, if there is some, they count like the normal use and how it will see and with a microscope, how it's it. Maybe that was, evidence of lockpicking. So I recommend that. I think that the name is Lockpicking Forensics. You can read that paper.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you, guys.